Welcome back to another episode of Oops, It's All Gone. Kidding, you guys. Of course I'm kidding. Who bought the dip? Who was able to lock in some of these dip prices before they went back up? I'm getting my stream open on my side, and then I'm going to do my intro. So good morning, everyone. It's Friday, the 6th of February, 2026. It's been a great, 8 hours, if you ask me. If you're new here or watching this on the playback for the first time, here is how this all works. I stream daily, Monday through Friday, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and we cover everything going on in the crypto market. That includes covering off silver and gold. That includes the Japanese bond market. That includes oil and the U.S. stock market. Let me catch my breath here. Ooh, a little out of breath. So we'll go through a lot of different topics. I usually start the morning off by saying good morning to all you lovely people. And then we hop over to CoinMarketCap to see what's going on. Great news for anyone who's in the utility token space. Our favorite coins are leading the way. While Bitcoin and ETH and Solana stay down, I think Solana actually recovered a little bit. But while Bitcoin and ETH stay down, FLR, XRP absolutely ripping this morning. Now, got to take that into context a little bit. Is it really a rip when just the previous day you crashed down 30%? So you have to zoom out and take it all with perspective. I'm going to quickly say good morning to everybody. Good morning, FRD. Good morning, Gangsta. Good morning, Scorpio. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Johnny, G. Carmen, Pat Fury. Dean, good morning. Shelby, good morning. WTX, good morning. SF, say hey, bruh. And Mill Power. I don't think I missed anyone. If I did, let me know. I will certainly give you a shout out. So I'm going to hop over to coinmarketcap.com. It's been a pretty eventful 8 hours. So let me get this. There we go. XRP back up to $1.50, you guys. I mean, in the past 24 hours, up 17%. It's almost like last night was a fever dream. It was a nightmare. You wake up from it and you ask yourself, did it even really happen? Now, I know that some of you were able to bag up on that yesterday, and I am truly, truly jealous of you guys. Right now, I lived an experience that truly is a selling point for crypto. I wanted to move some money out of a mutual fund to buy the dip. If you guys know anything about stocks, they don't settle until the end of the business day. Well, I had that cash available this morning. Well, it was too late. When the opening bell in the stock market opened up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I was going to buy some of the Franklin Templeton XRP ETF, which I did actually buy it, but I certainly didn't get in at the $1.17 that we saw yesterday in XRP. Instead, got in at $1.50. In the grand scheme of things, you know, am I really going to care when XRP's triple digits someday? No. But it is a very good case. I mean, this was, if you ever wanted to know what does crypto do, that is a perfect case. If we had tokenized stocks, I could have moved those mutual funds over in real time yesterday, which maybe would have been a bad thing because I probably, as soon as it would have started dipping here, I probably would have bought. So nothing ventured, nothing gained there. But the end of the story is that if we could trade stocks 24/7 around the clock, you know, I could have held on here, picked up around 4 or 5 p.m. when XRP was down to $1.17. Unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards for me. I did pick up some Quant and some HBAR. So, you know, I'm basically at the bottom of my powder jar. You know, I'm almost like sprinkling dust at this point. But I was at least able to say that I participated yesterday. So I picked up a few Quant tokens and a couple hundred HBAR, and or actually I think it was probably a couple thousand HBAR. In any case, with HBAR being at around 8 cents, or at least it was yesterday, very easy to get a pretty large bag of that. So that is what I did. I'm seeing Ben say that he got 7 XRP at the bottom. I probably could have just thrown a little bit of cash at XRP yesterday. It's the one thing I wasn't able to get. But you know what? No damage done. At 9:30 this morning, XRP was at $1.40. Actually, pretty good. I got in. I mean, I was sitting there looking at Jim Cramer's face at the gym TV, waiting for that opening bell. And as soon as they hit it, I went into my mutual fund. I hit that. Well, not my mutual fund, but I went into my brokerage for stocks, and I was hammering buy orders in for that Franklin Templeton XRP ETF. So I got in on that at $1.40. It's up to $1.52. You guys, I think this is going to keep going. Let's take a quick look at the overall picture here, because I think this will tell a big story. By the way, before we go any further, take a look at this, the Fear and Greed Index. I was talking with someone yesterday. We weren't sure how low this could actually go. It had never gone below 10 before. And we were asking each other the question, can the Fear and Greed Index even go to single digits? Well, there's your proof right there. It certainly can. We are at 5. This is extreme fear. Since the crypto market has been tracking fear and greed, it has never even gotten into the single digits, let alone down to 5. So if you guys know me, you know, I made this analogy yesterday. I'm like a 4th down football coach. You think I'm scared? I'm running the plays. Fourth and 10, let's go. That's kind of what we're at right here. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is the more the market is fearful, if you do the opposite of what the general market's doing, that's how you can really benefit. So to some extent, you know, I always say dollar cost averaging is the best thing to do. But if you do have dry powder, like I know a lot of us talk about, when you're up here and the greed index is in the 80s or the 90s, I would still dollar cost average. But at that point, I wouldn't be allocating any more dry powder. And that's kind of the idea that I've got. So once this starts moving up, once, you know, if we get, and this will make more sense if I pull the XRP chart back up. If we get XRP back into the 3s, and around this range is when I'm personally going to say, all right, let's just build up some cash reserves. I know a lot of us are stretching ourselves thin. We get to a $3 XRP. At that point, I'm going to say, you know, I don't necessarily want to be putting a lot of money in, knowing that once upon a time it was at $1.52 back on February 6th of 2026. Maybe I'm happy with the bag I got. I'll continue putting, you know, paycheck money in, dollar cost average, but I probably will pull back. Once we see a $3 XRP, I'm probably going to be a little bit more conservative with my cash flow, and that'll apply for the other coins as well, because I have a feeling when XRP rises, some of the tokens that are in its posse are going to follow very closely. Who are those tokens? Of course, we know it's going to be HBAR. Where is it? Right here. HBAR. We know HBAR is going to follow XRP pretty closely. So I'd like to get a little bit more HBAR than what I have. I'd say HBAR is probably my weakest position. I've really been hammering it in with XRP and FLR lately. Maybe for me, this will be something I kind of pivot to just to sort of flesh out my portfolio a little bit more. Very happy with my XRP and FLR goals. And the same could be said for Quant. Now, Quant's naturally a little bit more expensive due to the fact that they have a much smaller supply of only 14 million. It's more closer to 15 million total supply. So we're seeing this is at 65, but if we look at the daily chart, up 8% since 12 o'clock yesterday. It's back up to 65. Wouldn't you know it, all of the utility coins are leading the market right now. You go back to something like Bitcoin. Bitcoin has not really done that well. I mean, it's not terrible. It is climbing back up, but not at the speed that XRP and the other coins were. And it's also, let me see if I can get two charts up to cross-reference this, 'cause I think this could also be interesting to look at. Which one started to recover first? So I'm gonna pull the 24-hour chart on both of these. So it looks like XRP started its recovery last night at 7:40 p.m. If you see, it's really up and to the right since 7:40 was its first time going up, and it stayed pretty consistent. Bitcoin's recovery didn't really start until, actually, I guess, to be fair, fair is fair. It looks like they actually started moving at the same time. It's just that XRP moved way more. And the numbers that tell it the whole story. 18% in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin's only 3% in the past 24 hours. So even if the charts, eerily look almost identical in terms of their movement patterns anyways, XRP's just had the much sharper recovery. I think XRP might have the best recovery out of all of them. The only exception to that might be FLR. FLR has really done well, you guys. I think FLR has done okay. So FLR's up about 14% on the 24-hour mark. So right now XRP is definitely in the lead, but FLR is coming back very strongly. Don't be surprised if FLR goes on its next run very soon. And I'm looking at, let's just look at the overall charts here. If all you did was look at charts and read charts and you didn't understand the technology and you didn't, do that kind of research, just from patterns alone, it would tell you that it's been enough time for the downslope. The upslope is on its way. Who knows? Maybe by July or August, we're looking at a 5-cent FLR again. A lot of crazy things are going on, and I don't necessarily like doing price predictions, but I expect, because we've had this V-shaped recovery, I do expect there to be some very strong momentum that comes from this. And we'll just have to see if that ends up being true or not. But typically, when you see like a 20 to 30% crash and then almost an immediate recovery, it kind of shows that the whole thing is orchestrated, right? So shaking out the leverage, shaking out the retail, all of it immediately recovers. I think the next bull run could be sooner than we think. Maybe I'm not as pessimistic as I was yesterday. I want to catch up. I know some more people have joined, so I want to say good morning to those that joined a few minutes ago. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, Zerp. Good morning, Baller. I think that's everyone. Oh, good morning, Keith. Okay, now I think I've got everyone. Ben, I'm pretty sure I got you already. Keith's coming in from London in the afternoon. Always happy to see you guys. I know that, oddly enough, this channel's mixed about 50-50 from United States and then some of the European countries. And we got a very small amount coming out of Australia as well. And good morning, Josh. Ooh, good morning, Frog. So we actually got a pretty good audience today. If you guys could help out, we're at 18 likes. If you guys could just get that to as high as possible, that'll let YouTube know to continue spreading this live stream. And then who knows? I'm right now at 60 watchers. We're getting up there. This thing's definitely growing. Excited to see where this will all go. To Pat, The highest I've ever had was 61. So we're pretty close. Going to be hitting those all-time highs as a YouTuber, not quite a cryptograph, but oh, now we're at 59. I'll try not to look at the live counter too much, but it is exciting to see that these live streams are starting to pick up some traction with the overall YouTube audience. If you are joining and you're not already a subscriber, I highly recommend subscribing. We stream every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we cover off all the news going in the market. We're basically not missing a beat. Over the span of 2 hours, we're really able to cover everything that's going on. And you're not going to want to miss it right now. Things are moving fast. You know, this volatility, it's not going to last forever. And I did a call last night with, I did a collab video. I'm going to have that edited and probably have it posted later tonight. It shouldn't require too much editing since it was a conversational type video. We were thinking, you know, that the person I was speaking with made a good analogy that crypto is kind of in its teenage phase. So like an angsty teenager, you know, very volatile, moves around a lot. As it matures into an adult, it's going to steady out. So the volatility will drop, but then the reliability will increase. I think that is true. Around the time of 2030 to maybe 2035, I think we're going to stop seeing these just monumental years where we're seeing, you know, back-to-back years, 100% growth, 200% growth. I think that'll come to an end in about a decade. So I'm just going to be throwing out some numbers. These aren't, you know, concrete numbers, but let's just say, for example, by 2035, XRP was at $1,000. I think it'll be sooner than that, but that's not the point. The amount of time it'll take for XRP to go from 1,000 to 2,000 might be the same amount of time that it takes XRP to go from, you know, $1.50 to maybe 1,000. And the point being that, you know, those of us in this space, if you go from 1,000 to 2,000, well, already you're probably set for retirement long before it hits 1,000. So you don't even really necessarily care that it goes to 2. But think about down the road, if you just had a net worth of $10 million in 2035, you probably are not complaining if it takes another 10 years to get to 20 million, if that kind of makes sense. And these, don't take this at face value as far as the numbers go. It's more just like the idea of it. Dean's correct. None of this is financial advice. It's just my opinions, entertainment only. But the idea I'm trying to really unpack here is that we're super early on this. Even if you sometimes feel like you've missed out, you know, if you feel like you missed out on Solana, feel like you missed out on Ethereum, some of these utility coins have not had almost any growth yet. You look at HBAR, you haven't missed anything on HBAR. HBAR actually, since it launched, is down 77%. So if you go and look at like Ethereum charts or you look at Solana charts and you're like, well, there's no way I'm getting another 10,000% on that token. You haven't gotten any percentages on HBAR yet. So it's things like this that really give me some optimism that we could be seeing those 10,000, those 20,000% opportunities with these coins right now. Down the line, that's not going to stay that way forever. And so I do think the crypto market will mature. I think it'll get more stable, and that's going to be a long-term good thing for us, because the last thing you want is to have a portfolio of 10 million and then 3 or 4 months later it's back down to 2, because then you're not gonna feel secure in your ability to even spend that money, and you don't want to feel like you're living on a razor's edge for the rest of your life. So to some extent, you kind of want to have some buckets of money that you know are going to hold in value. And I do think crypto can eventually get to that point. Maybe it's not there for a couple of years, but I do think that it will happen. Let me know. I think that was a quieter coffee sip than I normally do. Getting better at it, but sometimes I almost kind of want to make a loud coffee sip just to kind of make that my thing. I wanted to pull up another coin. Let's pull up Quant. Quant is an interesting one because it really hasn't. Wait a minute, this doesn't look right. Is this really Quant's chart? I would have thought it wouldn't. It looks so flat. Like I said, I guess it has been flat. If we drag this out to 2021, so Quant hasn't had a whole lot going for it since 2021. In fact, unlike some of these other coins in the market, it never actually recovered up to this. Some of the other coins out there have, and they have surpassed their 2021 values. Quant hasn't. So the way I look at this is, this is a long-term opportunity to buy. And what I like about, I seen Ben's comment right there. What I like about Quant in particular, and you guys that have been watching the channel already know this, but Quant's not actually a blockchain, it's an operating system. And so there's things going on with Quant that it doesn't really have a whole lot of competition. So if you don't know what Quant is, I'll give a very brief overview. Quant is an operating system built for interoperability. And that's a really big word, so let me kind of explain what that means in simple layman's terms. If you have all these different silos, like if XRPL is a silo, the XRP ledger, and then you've got the Bitcoin ledger, and you got the Hedera hashgraph ledger, those ledgers don't natively communicate with each other, so that's what we would call siloed off. What Quant has done is they've developed an operating system that has connectivity to each of these different ledgers, so that if you're a bank or another large institution, you can access the XRPL, the Bitcoin ledger, the hashgraph ledger, all from the same operating system. So there's only one point of use. And that, I came from the finance space. That was a huge problem for us. So I actually lived through the bad side of that in my professional career. I'm about to sneeze. All right, guys, I held it. Whenever I announce that I'm going to sneeze is when I don't. So it seems to be kind of like my way of defeating that. Good morning, Rye. I see you in the chat. I got a question here for XDC. We'll pull it up. I don't have any. I don't have anything against this coin. To some extent, you can kind of spread yourself too thin in this game. So I've always kind of thought you want to pick between 4 and 6 coins and just really let that ride. And so my 4 coins right now, you guys already know, XRP, FLR, HBAR, and Quant. And I'm dabbling in Stellar and I'm dabbling in Chainlink. So I don't, Ben says to sneeze into the mic. I don't personally have any XDC. And if I do, I will maybe only have like $10 worth. But, even if you look at the 24-hour chart, it really follows XRP pretty well. And I know that XRP and XDC will have some compatibility. I don't know exactly how to phrase it. Some of you guys might have a better handle on that than I do. But they swim in different lanes, but they actually, in the overall process, you like if you're doing a cross-border payment, that payment might go from country to country, but then once it's integrated locally, then you might move it over to XDC, if that makes sense. So there's connectivity here. They work together, not against each other. So I do actually think that XDC is a really good buy. Another one I think is a good buy is obviously Stellar Lumen. For some reason, the Stellar fan base does not seem to like me. I don't know why. Nothing personal, but there does seem to be, like, if you're an XRP guy, the Stellar people just do not like you. I think that we kind of need to get away from all this divisive behavior. I don't think it helps anyone. I do like Stellar. I actually am even buying Stellar. I had a comment in another video. It doesn't really matter, but this guy called me an idiot for not having more Stellar, and it's like you realize that we're like a fraction of a percent of the entire world. Like, the fact that any of us are buying crypto at all, like the fact that you're buying any crypto whatsoever, especially crypto that's not meme coins that get advertised by Miami influencers, I just don't understand the divisiveness. Like, yeah, I think Stellar's gonna do good. I don't know why we need all this hostility, but that's my little soapbox for the day. Stellar hasn't moved quite as much as XRP has, which is consistent with the things I've been saying about it. I like Stellar. It just, every time XRP moves, it has a higher percentage of growth than Stellar does. So to me, it's nothing personal. I just go with the bigger growth. If you don't know, maybe for some of the people that are just joining, Stellar is different from XRP in that there's no escrow. Aside from that, Stellar and XRP are almost identical code. If you don't know the history of it, Jed McCaleb left Ripple, and part of his deal of leaving Ripple is what they let him keep the XRP code. I got to brush up on my details of exactly how that deal worked out. But the long of it is, Stellar is basically just another 50 billion XRP. It's just not part of the overall escrow with Ripple. So Stellar and Ripple not affiliated, but the actual tokens themselves, it may as well be identical with some very, very, very minor differences to them. And I think that might be where some of the animosity in this space comes from, because if Stellar is like the freedom fighter coin, they kind of see Ripple as like the boogeyman, like the big bank. And we're seeing stuff unwind with the Epstein files that I actually think prove that Stellar and Ripple, or I guess XRP, should really be getting along, because it seems like the emails that I've read, that Epstein was being commanded to shut both of these down. Now we'll have to see how a lot of these things unfold. The emails, there's like 3 million of them. Very hard to really keep track of all of that information. So unfortunately, there's people out there combing these emails, and we kind of just have to go off what they're posting and hope that they're not faking any of the emails, which is an important thing that we have to cover. Be careful that just because something got posted on Twitter doesn't mean it's a real tweet or a real email. So trust but verify. But if you're gonna formulate an opinion on something, just go into the emails themselves and do a Control F, and if it doesn't pop up, then that's a fake email. There's been a few of those. Looks like one of you guys is going on a cool vacation. I'm gonna try and read up on this real quick. I see Pat's over there in Switzerland. I loved Switzerland when I was there. I did a few days in Geneva, then I went down to Val Thorens in France. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It shares the mountain range with Courchevel and Mirabel. I don't know if you've ever been there, Pat, but that place was amazing. I would love to go back. Someone's going on a safari, but I can't see who. Well, whoever's going on that safari, have a good trip. That's very exciting. I'm going to try to catch up a little bit on some of the questions. It says, okie dokie. Sorry, you guys are having a sidebar. So I'll let you guys keep talking. So if I were to, we got a question coming in right now. Andrew, at some point, could you explain what risks are actually associated with staking and delegating, if any? So there are some risks. It's a good question. Once you stake a token, or even delegate it, or once you're giving the token away. So at a very layman's terms level, if you hold a token in your wallet, it's 100% secure. The instant you send your token outside of your wallet, no matter what, it becomes less than 100% secure. Now the question is, how many percentage points of security do you lose when you delegate and stake? And it's going to vary dramatically by who you're partnering up with. There's been horror stories out there of plenty of different people that have tried to stake their XRP with different groups, and they just lose their XRP. It's gone. They're not able to recover it. Sometimes they might try to execute a withdraw and it just doesn't execute. So there's a lot of that. If you want to get into staking, I would put in the absolute bare minimum that you think that you would need in order to see that it works, and then see if you can withdraw it and get those tokens back into your portfolio and try to do an end-to-end test. So back when I was working in IT, I did a 10-year career in this. We used to have these things called deployment cycles. So you would start your program in what is called the development system. So you would develop whatever it is you're trying to enhance or deploy. You'd start in the development system, and then you would move on to what was called the pre-production system. And in the pre-production system, in order to have the thing approved, you had to go from point A all the way to point Z. And if you could not get to point Z under any circumstance, the project would not go live. And sometimes projects would get stuck in this they call it UAT, user acceptance testing. Some projects would get stuck there for months because if there was one or two problems, they would not deploy it. And that's pretty standard among the IT business space. So what I'm doing, because I can't necessarily do a system integration test because these things are already out there and they're live, I'm doing the next best thing by just sticking a tiny amount in, a value that I'm okay with losing. And then I have these coals and all these different fires. You guys know I'm doing the FLR network. I'm doing this Morpho with FXRP. I'm also doing Firelight. I'm only putting in enough to get my data. Well, actually, with FLR, I'm all in on delegations for FLR, but for the Morpho and the Firelight, that one I'm definitely on data collecting mode. And what I want to see is, can I generate a reward, and then can I withdraw it and get it back onto my cold wallet? If I can do that, then it passes the test. But in general, staking with entities that don't have a good reputation, or in some cases don't have a reputation at all, I can't recommend that. FLR is a very, very special case because they've been around for a couple of years now. They've got, in my opinion, the best website out there. They're very, very active on Twitter. I mean, you could almost, depending on what time of day you're on Twitter, you could actually get a response from Hugo himself, which is unlike a lot of these other platforms. I do trust the FLR network. I've been staked with them long enough that I have not personally had any problems. With XRP, I would exercise a little bit more caution. Let's just make sure all this stuff works before really dumping money in. We got another question from Ali Zike. Question: is it plausible government will use law to buy back or restrict use of XRP from individual persons not holding their XRP in a trust? Oh, I feel like that's a Jake Claver question. I feel like that's something that he's said before. I'm not saying he has or hasn't, but I feel like he's talked about that. if you've got your XRP on a cold wallet, there's nothing anyone can do about that. I do think there could be an avenue of a buyback for those that only have tokens on exchanges. And that would include some of the bigger ones like Coinbase, Uphold, and Kraken. Again, I am not saying any of this is happening or even that it's going to happen, but it's something I think about. I could see a reality where someday XRP can no longer be purchased. That is just a personal opinion. But if that happens, people like us that have our XRP on cold wallets are going to become serious players in this game, because it means that if any of these entities want what we have, we get to kind of negotiate, right? So let's just say in Magical Fairyland, XRP is trading at, let's just say it's at $100, just to kind of make this easy to digest. XRP is at $100. It's delisted from all the major exchanges. There's no way for you to actually buy it. Maybe you can buy the ETFs, but that's it. You otherwise aren't getting custody of the coin. Now, let's say that JP Morgan Chase sends out an ad saying, we want to buy XRP. You go to JP Morgan Chase, they say, we'll give you $110. You could then reply and say, I won't give my XRP away for anything shorter than 125. And at that point, they can either take it or leave it, because all of us know the price is only going to continue going up. So when you have the custody of it, you can start setting the price, and in a weird way, now you get to be the one that bullies the banks around. And something like this has never happened. And what I'm saying right now has not happened yet. So just take all that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I agree with Gangsta here. Gangsta says, we are pioneers. Like the first monkey shot into space. We are early in the new financial system, and I am seatbelt and strapped in. That's it. That's 100%. Like, couldn't have said it better. I mean, geez, Morpho just went live literally like 2 days ago. You can't get much earlier than that. And I know that maybe not all of you are in Morpho yet, but you know, I'm data collecting on it. I'm doing my homework. I'm gonna share my notes with you guys. Wherever this goes, we're first in line. The average person is not buying XRP, and if they do buy XRP, it's probably because one of us told them to buy it, and so they throw $50 in, or they throw $100 in just to shut us up. And they don't really know what it is that they're buying. So they're not going to know how to take advantage of it. And they're not buying enough for it to matter. I mean, 50 XRP tokens. To make 50 XRP tokens make you rich, some of us would be in the multi-billionaires by the time that plays out. So I don't think that a guy at McDonald's who got 50 XRP is going to be quitting McDonald's anytime soon. But yeah, I know that a lot of us here, we're dollar cost averaging. We're stacking up thousands of tokens. Some are able to do more than others, but 1,000 XRP tokens could be worth $1 million in the next 10 years. And every 1,000 you get beyond that, it's just like a force multiplier, especially if this Morpho and Firelight works out. Chris asks, which exchange is easiest to stake with? I think I've heard rumblings that Uphold has staking built into their platform, but I don't know if that's a factual statement. I don't personally use Uphold. Kraken might. Millpower uses Kraken. He might have an answer to that. I just use Coinbase. Coinbase staking, it works for Solana, Ethereum, and a few of the other kind of casino style coins. You definitely can't stake FLR on Coinbase, at least not yet, and I don't know that you would ever be able to. Really, this is not financial advice, but ideally you just get a wallet. Even a Bifrost wallet is free. You can get a free Bifrost wallet just by downloading the app. Now, there's pros and cons to the Bifrost. One of the cons is that it's only a 12-word seed phrase. So quantum computers could theoretically brute force their way into that. Maybe not something to worry about if you have a small wallet, but the other thing I just don't like about hot wallets in general is that they're always connected to the internet, which means that if your Wi-Fi is on your phone, if you accidentally allow anyone to airdrop something to your phone, which could be like a way to phish it, they could end up cloning your phone and then just bleeding you dry. So you can avoid that by just simply turning the Wi-Fi on your phone off. But do you really want to handicap yourself that way just because you have a Bifrost wallet on your phone? It's up for debate. I guess it's probably good advice just in general to turn your Wi-Fi off when you're in airports or shopping malls or, you know, food courts. Just in general, somewhere where there's a lot of heavy foot traffic. It's probably just wise decision making to just turn your Wi-Fi off regardless. But it's just, you know, you only have to get compromised once to lose, in theory, millions of dollars if that's how much you got. So I go with the cold wallet route. I go with Decent. You know, I can link it. If you do get this Decent wallet from my link, I do get a commission from it. So just a, full disclosure there. I use Decent. It's the one that I recommend using, but honestly, you could go with Tangem. You can go with all these different ones. Let me just, I'm going to post a link here. I might just go out and get an affiliate link for Tangem as well, and then I'll just say, you guys pick, and I'll no matter what, it's going to support the channel, so I might look into doing that. Let me see. There's some movement here in the chat. More facts from Millpower. Far less than 1% of the total global population will ever own anything but a fraction of one XRP. That's 100% true. Some coins on Kraken have auto yield if a person agrees to it. Yeah, I just wouldn't want to stake my stuff on any of these exchanges, just in general. I don't like the idea that, and we might find out in the near future. Of course, this is nothing accusatory, it's just conjecture. We might find out in the not so distant future that some of these exchanges, not naming any of them by name specifically, but just some of the exchanges might have paper XRP. Or not just XRP, but paper crypto in general, meaning they don't actually have the tokens that everyone thinks that they do, and that you're buying basically just futures. We'll see if that plays out. It's something that I'm certainly concerned about. I mean, we've seen it in the silver and gold market. I mean, this would be a good opportunity to pull up silver and gold. The entire reason that silver and gold was even able to go up to 120 for silver and then back down to 76 is because of all the, let me scroll the chart down. It's because of all the future selling. Yeah, you ideally don't want to be stuck with paper assets. Stocks are one thing. Stocks can only be paper. Silver and gold, you don't need to have paper, silver, and gold. And then crypto, you don't need to have paper crypto either. And as soon as you exchange, as soon as you move tokens from an exchange to your wallet and you see that they transact, you know you've got that asset. So think of it like this. Right now, you go to a Coinbase and buy XRP, you can transfer that to your wallet. You're probably not buying enough XRP for it to be a problem. let's say XRP went to $100 literally tomorrow. Just bear with me for a second. You can absolutely bet your ass I almost said a swear word. I guess ass is one, but I almost said the F word. You can bet your ass that there'd be hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people that are scrambling to sell their XRP. They go to Coinbase or Kraken or Uphold and they hit sell, 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 sell. But the sale orders aren't going through because there's more people trying to sell than what the exchanges are actually holding. Because the exchanges will take your XRP and lend them out. They've been lending crypto for years now. These features are only just recently becoming available for us as retailers. By the way, Ali, thank you so much for the super chat. I highly appreciate that. You said, thanks for your answer. I didn't get it from Jake. I have mine in a cold wallet too, but makes sense that laws could force us to register our coins. Yeah, I've heard Jake talk about it a little bit. That's kind of where I went with that. I know it's something that he's talked about with, government doing buyback programs. And I think it's something that actually could happen, especially on the other side of clarity. Millpower says, as XRP price rises, retail would begin piling it. Look at the number of people who own Bitcoin. Been around for how long? That's a good point. Nobody wants to buy $1.50 XRP. They're waiting for it to hit $100 before they hop in. Isn't that so funny? I mean, really, I want that to kind of sink in for a second. Because I wasn't saying that to be funny, even though it is funny. People don't want to buy at $1.50. They're waiting until it's $10 or $15 or $20. Then they're happy enough to buy. It's like, does someone have to explain do we have to explain to people, by the time XRP goes to $20, you've missed the boat, man. And I know some people are saying, oh, it's going to go to 1,000. Look, don't get me wrong. Turning $20 into $1,000 is a pretty big deal. But it's not as big a deal as turning $1.50 into 1,000. And I know that you guys watching this get that. But it's like, you guys, this right now is the opportunity. Not 2 or 3 years from now when XRP is $20, $30. And you gotta also have to think, the person buying XRP at 20 or $30 isn't going to hold it to 1,000 anyways. Those are going to be the types of seller or buyers and sellers that'll flip it at 40 and feel like they did something. Now, I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say things like that, but there's some truth to it, right? If you found this space, whether you've been in the space just a long time or if you've just been finding it scrolling through, I mean, guys, we are seriously lucky to be in this situation. I mean, I only found out about XRP because a friend told me to buy it a couple of years ago, and I did. And I started doing more research, and one thing led to another. If my friend didn't introduce me to XRP, I don't even know if I would know about it. You know what I'm saying? Someone had to tell all of us. Someone had to tell all of us about this. Like, you didn't just wake up one day and say, "Oh, it's 2012 and XRP is now for sale." So we all have to be very appreciative of the fact that somehow, some way, we got introduced to this wealth growing opportunity. And what's going on, Robbie? I saw you in the chat. I just was monologuing, so I didn't get a chance to say hi. Robbie's one of my friends, IRL. We also happen to play World of Warcraft together. What happened with the Clarity Act? Well, there was some drama. Sorry, I had to take a breath there. Sometimes when I'm talking, I kind of forget to breathe. There was some drama with... and to Ben's question, I do. There was drama with the Clarity Act that... Here's what happened. So the Clarity Act was this miracle bill that got passed in Congress last July. and it was going to basically turn crypto online, make it something that all the banks can use. Now, I'm not trying to go too political here, but the facts are the facts. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is on the Democratic Party, went and slid a whole bunch of garbage into it after it went through Congress, so that the Senate's allowed to mark up these bills. She marked up things in there that would essentially kill crypto. And some people are upset that Brian Armstrong from Coinbase called this out and basically poo-pooed the bill, and now there's no bill. But the stuff that they put in there would effectively kill what crypto was supposed to be about. So if the Clarity Act passed the way it was written, you would basically get something around, let's put it this way. I have a decent wallet. If the Clarity Act passed the way that Senator Warren wrote it, you would get a TOS update, a terms of service update from from Decent or Tangent or whoever you use, that would say, in order for you to continue using this product, you're going to have to register it with the IRS. That should scare everybody in this chat. In fact, I would almost rather us stay in the cowboy Wild West era for crypto and just find another way for this to work out for us than to take that deal. If the IRS had your wallet address registered, that means that they'd be able to track what you're buying even better than they can literally right now. Because if I hand you a $20 bill, there's no paper trail of that happening, right? I go to an ATM, I pull out $100. At that point, the IRS has no idea what I spent that $100 on. If they have your wallet address, they can see when funds are added to it, when funds are withdrawn. They can see who it's going to. It would have been the start of the worst surveillance state that we've ever seen. So that's why the Clarity Act didn't go through. I'm glad that it didn't, because you guys, that would have killed everything for us. Not to mention they were going to go after stablecoin yields. They were going to make it harder for us to earn rewards on staking. Elizabeth Warren is one of my least favorite people. Ben says, isn't she supposed to be related to Pocahontas or something? Yeah. For those of you overseas that might not know who this is, there was this very, very white lady. I mean, she's whiter. She's whiter than white bread. She got into law school by claiming to be Native American. I mean, it's almost kind of sickening. And I guess it worked, because we wouldn't have this story if it didn't play out. But she's one of the Democratic Party senators that usually will shoot down anything the Republicans try to do under any circumstance. And because Republicans are pushing the Clarity Act, that means that she has to be against it. Same with Bernie Sanders. There was an interview not that long ago of Bernie Sanders talking with some pundit. I think they were lobbying. They were like a lobbyist or something like that. And they were making these blatant lies about stablecoin yields. And they were saying things that were factually untrue, which I almost wonder if there's like some legal precedent that could come with that, because, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know slander or libel laws, but to go on a nationally syndicated TV show and to say lies about stable coins and say lies about staking yields, I'd have to go and look up what would you guys want me to do that? I could look it up on YouTube and see if I could find it. Maybe we don't watch it, but maybe I'll just see if I can find it, and I'll just put it in the chat if you guys want to watch it later. I think this was stable coin. I don't know. I won't spend too much effort looking for this thing, but okay, here, this was it. I don't know that we need to watch 32 minutes of this, but the quote is in this. And let me just see if we just check the transcript and maybe we can just find it. How many times does the word stable come up? I bet it comes up like 1,000 times. Let's see. I don't know if we're gonna be able to find the exact quote. Maybe we just listen to 1 minute of this, you guys. We'll listen to 1 minute. I don't know if this is gonna be the quote, but if you have the time, what I'm talking about with Bernie Sanders is quite literally in this video. I just don't know where.
That's a great question. I think one important thing to realize about this is when it comes to the financial system, it ties into all of those issues with regard to healthcare and climate. So this is one of the things that sits at the base of all of that. Crypto is essentially, it is a scam. It's probably exactly what you think it is. Just like any other financial innovation, it is a way to get around the rules, to rip people off. All crypto exists on a spectrum of Ponzi schemes, and meme coins are the worst, as you mentioned, the ones that the president is selling in order to allow people to have access to him at that dinner you mentioned. Stablecoins in particular are allegedly backed by real assets, even though they're never audited.
It's not allegedly, they are. They are quite literally backed by treasury bills. That's how the whole thing works. So what this guy just said on here, it was a blatant lie, and he knows he's lying.
And they often lose their peg. They aren't worth $1. They fall by 13 cents, as much as 13 cents. And to compare that to traditional financial assets, if a traditional financial asset that's supposed to be worth $1 falls by 3 cents, just 3 cents, that is a complete and catastrophic failure.
All right, Corey, before we go further, don't assume that we know as much as you think we know about this issue. So I want you to back up, or Sasha can jump in as well. All right, so, I have $10,000, I got $100,000. I put that money in a CD, right? Put that money in the bank, I get, what do I get, 4% interest on a CD? All right, so now I want to invest. I've heard the president is into cryptocurrency, and I have great trust and love and confidence in this presidency. So I'm going to invest in stable coins or meme coins. What's the problem here? Sasha, jump in.
The problem is that they have no intrinsic value. I mean, they're basically just little bits of digital nothing that have no basis in the financial system. They're also a haven for criminal activity because they are essentially exist online. They're very difficult to trace. It's very easy for terrorists to use cryptocurrency, particularly stablecoin, to finance activity. It's very easy for sanctioned individuals to use.
I want to get there. I want to get.
Okay, some of that might have a little bit of credence. Like, yeah, terrorists could use crypto, but terrorists could also use scissors. Are we supposed to ban scissors? Should we ban the Toyota? What is the terrorist truck that all terrorists like to drive? What is that truck called? Anyone know what it is off the top of their heads? What is this thing called? Well, you guys get the idea. Are we gonna ban Toyota trucks because terrorists put a chain gun on the back of them and drive them around? You get where I'm going with that? Like, you can't just say, well, a terrorist uses this for fundraising, so that's why everything else has to be banned. We probably won't watch too much more of this. I don't know if that was the exact quote that I was looking for. Okay, you guys got it. The Helix. I don't know if if that was the exact quote I was looking for, but it's part of it. I mean, this is basically 32 minutes of crypto slander. Maybe I'll get it to the end of the timestamp and see. Maybe that was the stable coins timestamp that. Let's just see. I'll just finish this part up. By the way, we hit that all-time high 66 live viewers, so that's awesome. If you're just finding this channel for the first time, make sure to subscribe. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm just going to let this run for another 30 seconds, and let's just see if they say anything more for us to get mad about.
Into that area. But I want to start off with the fact that there are, I don't know, millions of Americans who think it's a good investment. So before we get into money laundering and drug cartels, why shouldn't I invest in a stable coin? Can I make money? Is it a good investment for me?
I mean, look, it's just like any collectible, right? You can buy a troll doll, you can buy a Beanie Baby, or what have you. If that's what you want to spend your money on, fine. The problem is that when you start investing in stable coin, that's supposed to be tethered to the US dollar. And that's not going to happen. It's going to be quite a financial risk, which Corey can, as the crypto expert, can speak much more heavily about. But I think as far as the actual, like what it is, what you invest in, it's like, that's when, go ahead.
All right, so Corey, let me just jump to you then.
So she has no idea what she's talking about. I already said it again, but a stable coin is 1-for-1 backed by U.S. treasuries. 1-to-1. That is how the whole thing works. So what she just said was a blatant lie. And I think maybe she doesn't know she's lying. Oh, but you know this guy. You can tell that he knows he's lying. He was the head of some chair. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but he was the chair of some bank. He was JP Morgan. I don't know. Maybe we'll just look it up. Corey Frayer. Who was this guy? Director of Investor Protection for the Consumer Federation. But where was he? Let's hit his Wikipedia. Oh, he doesn't have a Wikipedia? Okay. Director of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Great. So the director of the SEC. Pop quiz for those in the chat. Do you guys remember who sued Ripple? It's the SEC. There you go. This is one of your villains right here. One of my villains too. So the people behind suing Ripple are coming up here telling Bernie Sanders, who maybe a little bit of respect to Bernie, he probably has no idea what these two are talking about, and he's probably just going and going along with it. But these two definitely know what they're doing. They 100% know what they're doing, and they know what they're doing when they say things that are not true. I don't know how they necessarily get away with being able to come on here and lie like this. But you have to think, your average person who goes to their 9-to-5 job and sits down at night for a couple of hours and just turns the TV on, they're seeing stuff like this on the news networks, and they just take it at face value. Where people like us, where we're very integrated in this ecosystem, we can spot the lies instantly. If you know anything about how this works, you know that they're telling lies. But the average person out there has no idea that they're being lied to by this slimy, not going to say it out loud, and this slimy, not going to say it out loud either. But to summarize all of this, they don't want us to have crypto. They want to have it for themselves, but they want to make sure that the proletariat does not get ahead. And so they'll tell whatever lies they need to tell in order to scare people off from, getting involved in crypto. I'm going to jump to the stable coins button real quick, because I think this might be where the quote I was originally referring to might be. And if it's not, we'll go back to our regular content. But I think this might be the one. If nothing else, it'll give us some more stuff to. We'll get our 2 minutes of hate if you've ever read 1984.
With stablecoins, the idea is to try and keep a stable price at $1. So you can't ever make money on stablecoins in the upwards direction. They will never be worth more than $1. But
you get yield. Oh man, I was supposed to let this guy talk, but I guess I'm gonna rant for another second here. If you hold a CD, the whole idea is that you're supposed to get like a 3 or 4% yield for essentially letting the government hold your cash. A stable coin does the exact same thing. The only difference is that these big banks don't get to hold your money. That's the whole thing behind stablecoins. If Ripple goes and launches RLUSD and you park your cash in RLUSD, this guy right here no longer has your cash. And I'm not saying he specifically has it, but the power brokers that he serves hold your cash. So yes, you can earn on stable coins. Not that like, look, I'm going to make more on Flare than I'm going to make on a stable coin, but I digress. The stable coins is it's kind of a red herring, but they're still saying things that aren't true. And everyday common people are hearing it.
As you pointed out, they can fall. And if unfavorable economic conditions, like you've mentioned, happen, they absolutely could be worth way less than you bought them for.
All right, so I'm giving the company $1,000. They're doing what investment companies doing. They're investing it. They're making whatever they make, 8-10% on it. I still have at best $1,000 that I'll get a year back. Inflation has gone up by 4%, so I've actually lost money. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, before we get to...
Look at this lady's facial expressions.
All right, I have heard from folks who say, look, getting involved in crypto is an opportunity to make real money. I got my friend Joe. He invests $2,000. My God, he made $5,000 in a month. I want to do the same. What's the problem?
I mean, I would say that's the exception to the rule. I mean, there are millions of cryptocurrency, of coins out there, and not all of them are going to make you a millionaire.
All right, well, that goes without saying. Are a lot of people losing money on their crypto investments?
Absolutely.
We found out today that in the Trump
The people that are losing money on crypto are getting rug pulled by Miami social media influencers. They're launching a bunch of casino coins on the casino platform, Ethereum and Solana. Nothing to do with the real utility space, XRP, HBAR, Quant, Flare, XDC, XLM, Algorand, Metal, whatever it is, Metal blockchain. There's a lot out there that everything this lady just said is completely false, but they're going to go and handpick some of the rug pull coins, probably like Hawk 2 a coin. They're going to say, look at all the people that got burned on Hawk 2. And that's how they're going to say this is why crypto's a scam. It's really, it really just gets me angry. But let's finish what they're saying.
meme coin, 746,000 of his supporters who bought that meme coin lost money in that transaction.
All right, explain, we'll use the Trump meme coin above and beyond the insanity of the president of the United States issuing meme coins. Let's call it the Corey meme coin. So what happens? I buy $1,000, and what happens there?
So you think you're making a bet that the popularity of that meme coin, you'll get in first, and the popularity of that meme coin will blow up and make the price go high, and then you sell that off to somebody who's willing to pay that high price for it, and will lose money on that transaction.
Right.
What you don't know is that coin is sold to insiders first before it ever hits the marketplace, and they benefit enormously off these price changes in a way that regular investors will never have the opportunity to.
Okay. So
that part right there actually is true, but that's why I don't get involved in meme coins. We'll probably leave this here because if you want to watch the full thing, I'm going to link it again in the chat. The quote I was originally looking for is somewhere in this interview. I don't think we heard it though. But the one we listened to closer to the beginning where the timestamp is crypto a scam pretty much sums it up. But in a roundabout way, in case we kind of lost the plot a little bit here, we were talking about the Clarity Act. Now, this particular interview was for the Genius Act. So this is actually somewhat of an older interview. It was from May 7th of last year. The Clarity Act got poo-pooed by guys like this. And probably this lady maybe be slightly involved as well. It's a coordinated attack to destroy the cryptocurrency space, and it's really only getting Democratic support. So, you know, a spade's a spade. I don't try to get too political on this channel, but you cannot possibly deny that the Republican Party is in favor of crypto, and by default that means that the Democratic Party has to be against it. So it is what it is. I don't make the rules. Don't have to get too far down that hole. I know it can, you know, people can get angry and start fighting in the comments about politics. That's not quite what I want this channel to be about, but we got to stay well informed. I'm going to jump over to gold real fast, gold and silver, just to kind of take another look at it. So we already looked at silver at 76, gold's back under 5,000. I'm curious to see, you know, I still think the reverse carry trade, which I also have a tab open for this, I still think this is in play. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Something's got to give with the Japanese economy, but there's no denying that the bonds have stayed pretty steady here at 2.2 to 2.5 for the past month. Let me scroll myself down a little bit here. We can see that this isn't really moving up or down, whereas previously, up until January 20th, which was only 2 weeks ago, but it really was just almost kind of like a straight line upwards. Now it's flattened out. It makes me wonder if somewhere on the back end, if we've actually started to see the beginnings of the reverse carry trade unwind. Just things that I'm personally curious about. And then I think it's also curious that the stock market didn't really get affected too much by all of the things that have happened this week. So I'm curious about this. Silver and gold get blasted, crypto gets blasted, the stock market basically remained the same. My curiosity is, do we see a wipeout hit the stock market next? Like, have we already gotten the blood out of the water for crypto and metals? If the stock market gets hit next, in a weird way, that might make me feel better about the whole situation. And we've already had some pretty significant recovery from XRP. I mean, it just keeps going up, almost at $1.50 now. So our market is recovering. I want to see if the stock market crashes a little bit, because that could be the catalyst to us getting a new bull run. Rated Russian says politics is Hollywood for ugly people. That's a really good way to put it. Ben asks, is the reverse carry trade happening now and we just don't know? I've been asking myself the same question. I wish there was just like, I wish like you just go chat GPT and say, did the reverse carry trade happen? But it's one of those things we can't really see the result, or we don't really have the answer until we have the result. And so all we can do is kind of connect some dots here. Japanese bond market has flattened off for the time being. Does that mean the reverse carry trade has started? I think that could definitely mean that. Looking at just some of the other bonds, they seem to be, you know, the 20-year bond is looking pretty flat. The 30-year bond is looking pretty flat. So the bond markets have slowed down. The 1-year bond also looking pretty flat. Oddly enough, the 1-year bond hasn't fallen down though. The 1-year bond is at its all-time high still, which that could be something to look at. But the 10-year bond is really the standard for the Japanese bond market. That's the one that we all care about. Not that these other ones aren't important, but they're not quite as big a deal as the 10-year. So we just have to keep an eye on this one. Let's go. You know what? Let's take a quick look at my data set, 'cause I think this is some fun stuff for us to go through. If you guys don't know, I think most of you know, but in case you don't know, if this is your first time on the stream, I am doing a staking mini series. We're going to go until August 3rd. I'm tracking my daily rewards from FLR and also from FXRP. So the idea here is that I want to prove that staking is reliable. I want to prove that it's rewarding. I want to prove that it's secure. And I want to prove that it's easy to do. Those are the 4 pillars of this experiment. So I want to show you guys through actual hard data, what's the best thing to do with your FLR. I'm going to probably guess up front that staking your FLR is going to have a better outcome than having it wrapped. We'll have the evidence of that probably by August. The collateral pool is a wild card to me because it doesn't tell you what your APY is. And I wonder if the only time you get reward on your collateral pool is if FXRP is actually minted. So maybe that's why there's no hard data on that. So we're just going to figure these things out as we go. And then, of course, I've got some XRP and Mystic and Firelight. So I'm going to drag these columns down. But once I get some rewards out of Mystic, I'll probably throw another 200 XRP in just so that these two are equal. And then once the Firelight vaults open up, I'll probably true both of these up to 500. That way we can get a little bit more aggressive results on that. Because I do think 100 is maybe a little bit too conservative for what I'm trying to do here. Now for the time being, let's go to the FLR network. Let's see if, as long as I scroll down here and you guys can't see my wallet address, I'm not sure how we're gonna make this work. So I do have a reward to claim. I guess I'll just let you guys know what it is. It's looking pretty small. I went with Anchor as my delegator, but those numbers kind of suck if I'm being honest with you. My other options have done much better than this, but I'm going to show it to you guys here in a second. I'm claiming my reward right now as we speak. So let's see here. Why don't I have claim? Come on. Oh, that's weird. I'm not getting the pop-up for some reason. Maybe I'll just do this later. Oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever. Point being, the APY on this, it's not making sense. If I've got 50,000, well, maybe it does. Let's just pull out the calculator. What's 50,000 multiplied by 0.0721. So I should be getting 3,605 flare per year. And the reward an epoch every 3 days. So it's about 104. I should be getting around 35 flare per epoch. But instead, I'm only getting 43. Do you guys see that? I cleverly hid my address here. Not very well, but I don't think you guys are going after my wallet. It's more for the random people joining the other videos. But what's going on here? Why is there only 43? And why is it not popping up on my wallet here? I'm gonna try and scan it one more time. If this doesn't work, we'll just forget about it. Come on, Flare, you're making me look bad. I might have to just resync the wallet. That might be the problem. Let me just do that. Sometimes it needs to be resynced. Connect. I don't understand why the epoch is so small. Okay, there we go. Resyncing did the job. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little perplexed right now. Well, in any case, you can see that I just claimed it. So now we're up to 50,000.87, but that's I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not sure why it's so small. I would have thought it'd be way better than that. So I'm actually confused by this. As far as staking goes, nothing to claim yet. I think I gotta wait 2 weeks for this one. The staking address you guys can see because this isn't me. This is the Anchor address, so I don't have to worry about you guys seeing this one. I'm gonna head over to Flare Assets and see how that one's doing. Isn't that weird though? I'm actually kind of perplexed by the poor epoch reward. Let me see. Maybe you guys in the chat have some feedback on that. Now, I don't use Anchor for my normal delegating. I use Flarebus and Luga nodes, and I've never had problems with those. In fact, the epochs I've been claiming from them have been pretty juicy. I'm not understanding what that's all about. But we can see... come on, you piece of shit. There we go. At least over here, we can see that I've got 50,024 flare for my collateral pool. I'm perplexed on this too, because the first day we did this, I got 24 of these out of nowhere. Now, it's barely moving at this point. So, very interesting to see these numbers. Not quite sure what that is going on there. But hey, since we started this experiment, we've got 25 more flare. It's been about a week. Let's see what the price is for today on flare. It's probably like a penny. 0.0127. Okay, cool. Hey guys, we've in 1 week we've turned $1,494 into $1,540. That's $45 in 1 week, guys. Iman, do you have any ideas? I know that you're pretty involved in Flare. I'm perplexed that 50,000 in wrapped Flare would only reward 0.43 for an epoch. I've never seen something that low before. So I am an open-minded individual. Not saying I have that answer. I'm not even necessarily worried about it, but it is something I'm curious about. I just wouldn't understand why that's happening. Let's take a look at Mystic real quick. This will be the final one. This will give us some more data to look at. Maybe someday I'll just accept that maybe the wallet's visible, and that would make these things a lot easier to shoot. But let's see what we're looking at here. How would I go about blocking the wallet address? Oh, that worked. So here we go. So I'm up to 3.15 on my Flare here. So I can go over here and put in 3.15. And this one also needs to be updated plus F or plus G 12. And there we go. Awesome. Hey guys, look at that. We're data collecting. Cool. So I've got my Mystic in here. I've got 100. You can see I've got 100 FXRP. I don't know how well it looks on your side. Maybe the screen's a little bit too small for you guys to read, but I've got 100 FXRP in Mystic right now. It seems like it rewards in Flare. It doesn't necessarily seem like it rewards it doesn't necessarily seem like it rewards FXRP. So I'm going to keep data collecting on this one and we'll find out. One more thing before I jump back out of this. Where's the Flare assets? My collateral pool for Flare assets has rewarded me. Oh, we're kind of getting somewhere here, you guys. Let's see if I can. There we go. I hid my wallet. 0.10. So in the week that I've been doing this, I've generated 0.10 FXRP with 50,000 in the collateral pools. So that is actually kind of moving along. That means I could get a cut. Like if you think about this in the scheme of like a year, I might be able to get, I don't know, 10 to 15 FXRP out of this. That could be okay. Maybe I'd rather have the Flare tokens just staked, but we'll see. That's what the whole exercise is for. We're going to figure out what's good, and whatever's not good, we're not going to do after August 8th or August 3rd. Probably going to do a lot of staking. I'm excited to see what that first hit from staking is going to be, because I think it's going to be substantially more than the wrapped Flare. And I'm not just saying that because I only got 0.4 tokens out of that. I'm going to see let me see if you guys have any ideas in the chat, because I'm actually very perplexed. It could be that Anchor had low rewards this epoch. Just remember that that 40 Flare at a price of $1 would be pretty good. Well, that's the thing. We didn't even get 40 out of that. We just got 0.4. But on my Flare bus, without giving away too much details, I'm getting a pretty juicy amount I'm getting a pretty juicy amount out of Flare Bus. Mill says it's about 5x what delegation is paying. Okay, here we go. Averaging 270 Flare every 3.5 days in one account with roughly 500K Flare. And then, so that's about 4,700 every 2 months. So 25K a year. It's a bit over 5% for that one account delegation. Not amazing. The Anchor, let's pull it up. Anchor is rewarding right now. If I pull up its reward analytics, I might just do Control F here. You know, these are moving targets. It does a 13% annual yield, which I think is really good. 5% delegation APY, but it doesn't look like it did well the last epoch. Let's see if maybe we can get some information on this one. Because 43, I'm a little pissed off about that, if I'm being honest. And it hit 40. It did 0.43 2 payouts in a row. So something here isn't adding up. But that's what this is all about. We're figuring this shit out so that the people that come after us will have it a lot easier. Let's check out their performance. You know, back when I was working in IT, this is kind of the stuff I would do at work, except I didn't enjoy doing it because I was working for the consulting firms, and there's no passion there. But this I'm passionate about. It's different. Let's see what their 24-hour range on Anchor looks like. So they participated in all the rounds, at least for the past 24 hours. Okay, so that's fine. I have to imagine some of you guys are probably looking at this like, I have no idea what the hell he's looking at, and that's fine. What this is showing us right now is that Anchor has to predict the price of all, well, I don't want to say predict, they have to report the price of all of these different indexes. So like, they're reporting on the price of Cardano, reporting on the price of Atom and Avalanche and Ethereum and Hype and Penguin, Pudgy Penguin. So they're reporting out on the prices of all of this, and it looks like their hit rate is somewhere around 30%. I'll just pull into one of them. I know this is probably hard to, and maybe this is too in the weeds for some people, but we're looking at this. They got a, oh, let me make sure that my screen is also, my head's not covering too much of the screen here. This might be hard to look at, but right here in the primary band, we can see they've got 163 hits, 260 border, and then 531 misses. So this is basically just reporting the arbitrage prices on this specific asset, which would be AAVE USD. Now, I don't actually know what specifically AAVE is, but it's a digital asset, and so they're running these, you know, I want to say once every 90 seconds. So if we watch this, in theory, we should see this update in real time. Let's see if we do, because it's going to go here in the next 2 seconds. So, okay, didn't see the chart move. Let's hit refresh and see if it did. Okay, cool. We just saw that in real time. The hit went from 163 to 164. If you're watching this and you're very confused, it's okay. And this stuff, it's hard to even explain this stuff sometimes, but every 90 seconds they're doing a voting round, and this is basically how the epochs are paid out. They do have to be you know, they, in order to get a reward, they do have to hit their correct value. So maybe Anchor just had a rough couple of days here, but I do want to know why Anchor did not. Oh, maybe this is part of the problem. They only had a 98%. Oh, now we're really getting into it. Okay. Now we're really getting into this. So they had a miss here. I don't know. We'll have to keep writing these things down. If you're just, I saw one of you guys was just jumping in. My delegation reward for the past 2 weeks has been pitiful. We had the calculator up a second ago. I should be getting rewarded around 35 flare every 3 days, but we only got 0.43. So something's kind of not working out here. We'll just have to keep collecting data. I mean, this is really the nature of the game here, is just let's record this data. This is all authentic, even if it's not working out the way I wanted it to. You know, we're getting these numbers in front of you guys so that we can all kind of figure this thing out together. My other wallet hasn't had this problem, so I'll probably have to kind of spend some time tinkering around with this to see if I can come up with an answer for you guys, but kind of disappointed so far that, I mean, 0.43 is basically negligible. We'll see how the staking one is. That one should come out within the next week because I loaded these up on the 1st. So maybe that means on the 13th we might see that payout. And then I guess in the meantime, we'll probably wrap that part of the stream. 200, okay, so Mill is saying 270 flare is roughly $2.70. 0.4 XRP is less than 0.75. So the delegation is 3.5 times higher. Now, Mill, are you talking about in correlation to the collateral pools? Because so far, if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm not really thrilled with the collateral rewards. I mean, even getting 0.10 of an XRP, not quite as substantial as I would like it to be, because you got to think we're a year in, right? Or not a year, we're about a week in. We've had this in there for 6 days now. So you got to think, if we're getting 0.10 and there's 52 weeks of the year, 50,000 flare making you 5 XRP, is that I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, I guess it's better than just literally having it sit in a wallet doing nothing. But it's better than doing nothing, but I don't know, 5 XRP, I'm not really blown away by that. We'll have to just keep looking. I think staking, and my personal prediction, I think staking is going to be where the money is at. And I think as far as XRP goes, Firelight and Mystic are going to be pretty good. For what it's worth, the Mystic rewards, not too bad. Got 3 flare out of it in the past 2 days that I've had it. And, you know, I've only got 100 XRP in there. So you got to imagine, like, if I had, for example, 1,000 XRP hanging out in Mystic, I could be generating like 15 flare tokens a day. If flare goes to $1, which I think it eventually will, you know, I guess I'd be kind of cool with having $15 a day rolling in without me having to micromanage it at all. Okay, not going to do a whole lot with $15, but it could pay for coffee the rest of my life. So, you know, we're going to figure this stuff out. We're going to get the best data, We're so far ahead of the pack, you guys. We're gonna figure this stuff out before anyone else. And then we're gonna really be the pioneers here. Ben says waiting on a 24-hour stream. Dude, I would have a really bad sore throat after that. Even talking here for 2 hours, like, man, my throat needs like a 2-hour break after this, just to kind of like make no sound. I don't know how singers do it, or even I got to give some of those news anchors credit, like someone like Jim Cramer, who's talking for like 4 hours uninterrupted sometimes. It's like, okay, well, maybe I have a little bit more respect for these guys now, because it's a little bit tough. Aman says, I think I tried using Anchor before and missed a few epochs, so I'm now at Digital Dynamics and Burst. What is SFLR? If you said that's Scepter. Okay, Scepter liquid staking. Oh wow, 12% APY. Okay, that's pretty nice. Now, is this endorsed by FLR? Or is this just like a let's see, in cooperation with, let's just see if we can, okay, so they at least have a link to FLR. That's good. This networks button doesn't do anything. In cooperation button doesn't do anything. Let's just see, is there anything we can find out about this group here? Ben says take another sip. It's my last. It's getting down there. I can't even tilt the cup enough or it'll spill all over my black shirt. Let's see here. So while staking FLR or wrapped FLR, oh, you can stake wrapped FLR. Now that could be interesting. You'll receive both staking or delegation rewards as well as FLR drops. When you unstake, you receive your initial stake plus rewards minus a 10% fee on rewards and FLR drop. So my question is this then. Why use, and this is me just spitballing here. Why use Scepter if there's a 10% fee on rewards when there's no fee at all on the FLR network? Is there a specific reason for that? Aman says they stake to about 60 FTSOs and get paid out inside the SFLR, and then use the SFLR to FLR ratio to see how much your rewards are. So it looks like one SFLR is equal to 1.778 FLR. And then there is a swap. There's a 1% swap fee. I guess we could experiment with this. I'll think about it. Do you have to have a minimum of 50K to stake with these guys? I'm looking at their FTSOs. I don't recognize a lot of these. You use OpenOcean to swap, so there's no staking requirement or like amount requirement. I'll keep an eye on this one. Probably won't do it today just because if I was to do this, I'd probably just go out and buy 50,000 more FLR. I'll be keeping an eye on this. I do want to know what was going on with that staking reward. Just really kind of bummed out that it was so low. We'll see how the staking plays out. We're gonna have to just wait and see. But even looking at the delegation here on, like I'm looking at this right here, and it says Anchor is at 7.21. So it's like, what's the deal here? Is it possible that I just haven't been in this one long enough? I mean, it's been 6 days though. Wouldn't you think that qualifies me for 100% of the epoch by now? We'll have to see. Once I wrap this stream up, I'm going to go into my other account and look at those rewards and see if there's anything I can make out of this. Let's see what this help button says. Where's the question that says, where's my money? Where's my money? Okay, here we go. How much of the FLR drop? Oh, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Those are over. Delegation. How high of a reward I will receive? Let's just see what they say here. The amount of wrap FLR tokens you delegate is determined by the epoch's snapshot block. The amount then is multiplied by the reward rate the provider to whom you delegated your tokens achieved by the end of this epoch. So they must have just screwed up in the past week, and maybe that'll improve. Because it sounds like, if I'm reading this right, the amount of wrap FLR tokens you delegate is determined at the end of the epoch snapshot. This amount is then multiplied by the reward rate. No, I don't know. We'll just see. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed off if I got 6 months of poo-poo delegation rewards from these guys. Well, hey, that's what all this is. We're data collecting. So if anyone from Anchor is watching this, I want my money, or else I'm going with Solarius instead. Solarius was my backup, but I won't be able to. I don't know. I've already put the money in. I won't be able to unstake, I don't think. I'm a little annoyed right now, you guys. A little annoyed. Let's see. If I were to go to staking, I don't think I can pull out of this. I think no matter what, I mean, we haven't gotten anything from Anchor yet for staking, so let's just see what happens. I don't think I can pull out. So I think we're locked in, boys. We're locked into Anchor. We'll have to see how that first I mean, if I get 14% out of the stake for this, I'm happy. I still want to know what's going on with the epoch, but at least with the epochs, if I have to, maybe in one of my episodes, I highlight the box a different color or something, and I just say, hey, when the box was blue, it was with Anchor, and then I changed the box to purple or something like that. I changed it to plum, and now it's plum. Now it's in Solarius, and I could just put like a key in there. I could just stake another 50K, and when Anchor is finished, just get out. I could do that too. Actually, I could do that, couldn't I? I could just throw another 50K in here and say, hey guys, we're not getting good results out of Anchor, so I threw in another 50. And this time we're going to stick it, in a different, stick it into a different one. And then, obviously with this, we could drag them 50-50, but then I feel like that would screw it up a little bit because it won't be exact at this point because there's more than 50,000, if that makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. I should have gone with Solarius. That's my fault, you guys. I should have just went with Solarius. Oh well, we'll see. We're data collecting. That's the whole point, right? All right, we got 10 minutes left. Sorry if that was a little boring. I was just trying to figure out what was going on with my own situation here. So I kind of lost track of stuff. We got 10 minutes left. Let's hop into Twitter, just see if there's anything entertaining going on. We got some, well, that's interesting. Satoshi, he sold. Huh. I don't know. There's people always saying that Satoshi sold. I don't even know if that's real. Let's see here. Kevin O'Leary dropped a bomb. Trillions of dollars are lined up to buy Bitcoin, and all starts the second the law passes. So he's probably talking about the Clarity Act. Kevin O'Leary is a big Bitcoin maxi. I wonder if he really understands how Bitcoin works. I always try to get inside the head of the people that are buying Bitcoin because I just don't understand. Like, it doesn't actually do anything. So if you're an investor, are you only chasing charts? To me, that's just kind of, I don't know. I just don't understand it. Am I looking at this right? Dang, this guy's got 1 million wrapped flare, you guys. That's pretty sweet. Oh, you'd think he'd be getting more than 630, though. Oh, actually, no, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. But then why am I like getting 0.43? Thank you, Aman. I really want to make this thing, the good and the bad. We're really kind of figuring all this stuff out in real time. I kind of want that to be the theme of this channel. So sometimes going through stuff when it doesn't work out the way you want it to is actually a good thing. Because otherwise I'd just be like another of these hype sellers out here. I'm going to save this for my own personal enjoyment later. Well, we won't watch this on stream. Let's see, I'm looking for any crypto news. Let the gains begin. Is this a real Trump? Does anyone have... I don't have Truth Social. Is this a real tweet from Trump? Let the gains begin. Because if it is, I don't know. I think it's weird that Trump's that involved with things, Well, anyway, guys, I'm getting kind of hungry. I'm going to start wrapping up. We only got 5 minutes left anyways. So if you guys have any last minute questions, I can probably take 1 or 2 more. Otherwise, I'm going to start doing my closing comments. XRP looks like it's going to at least finish the stream at around $1.50. So basically last night was just a nightmare, and he woke up from the dream. Woke up and it was back up to $1.50. We'll have to see how things play out. Otherwise, for those of you out there, enjoy your weekend. I know in England and other parts of Europe, it's probably I don't know, 6-7 p.m. for you guys. So probably about time for us to start enjoying the weekend. I will have a video coming out either tonight or tomorrow. I did an interview or a collab video yesterday, which was pretty cool. I want to do more of those if I can. It's always fun to talk to other people in this space. So that'll either be out tonight or tomorrow morning. So keep an eye out for that. Last question from Alizg. Hope I'm saying that right. Is Ledger Flex safe to use? Yeah, I mean, Ledger had some problems. I don't know if I would personally be using it, but I don't think that it's like the sky is falling that people think either. You'd probably be fine with Ledger, but I think Decent and Tangent in general are just better since they haven't had any problems. The data breach from Ledger, for what it's worth, was just things like email and personal information. No wallets were actually compromised. I think that's kind of an important detail for that. So if you want to use Ledger Flex, oh, there we go, Ali ZK, perfect. I can remember that. Look for open source cold wallets. Agree with that. I would imagine Tangent should be open source, right? Is it? Let's just hit Google and see. Tangent open source. The Tangent mobile app is fully open source, so there you have it. If you do get a Tangent, buy it directly from their website. Let's just see if I can join their referral program. Is this a thing? I mean, I could just become a what do you call it? I could just become an ambassador for all the brands and just say, all right, pick the one you want. I've seen this guy's tweets before. How do I get on here? Anyways, I'll poke around with this stuff offline. But yeah, if you want a Tangent, I'll just post it in the chat. It's fine. Yeah, I appreciate that, Ali. If you guys do want to help me get to the XRP conference, it's going to cost me $600 just to get in the door. So I will talk about it. We got some time. I want to at least hit this HBAR one first, just to see. You know, I want to do a test run of can I cover stuff like live as it's happening, and then kind of go from there. I'll mess around with this Tangent thing. I'll see if I can become a referral or whatever. I don't know how this would work. So join the referral program. Okay. Yeah, I'll just become I'll be a cold wallet salesman. I'll just tell you guys to buy whichever one you want, and I'll just have links for all the different brands. So I think that's a good way to do it. All right. In the meantime, I am going to get some lunch, do some kind of bookkeeping for the channel, and then I will have to post that interview tonight or tomorrow. But either way, I'll see you guys Monday for sure. And with that, you guys have a good weekend. Ending this 2 minutes earlier, but that's basically a 2-hour stream. Oh yeah, don't forget the hats, Dean. Do you got the link? Oh man, sober this weekend. I'll do it for you guys. Heineken Zeros only. PPC laser. Yeah, there we go. Head to Dean's link, coupon code Andrew if you want one of these XRP hats. They're pretty sick. This thing is like steam pressed on there. That's like a real patch. So they're pretty sick. If you guys want one, just promo code Andrew. Dean, I'm gonna copy and paste this and we'll put it into is this hold on. All right. While we're here, let's just try something. let's just try something. You guys are getting a peek behind the curtain if you're into this kind of stuff. Let's just see, while we're all here, if I wanted to tag product. I know it's on here somewhere. Where is this thing? There's brands. Share access to your video on. Maybe you could have a brand here. No. Maybe you go to monetization. Maybe. There should be like a store button. Oddly enough, this stuff's a lot easier on the cell phone. I don't know why their mobile app is so difficult to use. Where's the shop button, dude? Language, no. Sort tag, tag tools, no, 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 no. It's not, we're not necessarily collaborating, so that's not it either. Oh man, why is it always so hard to do what you're trying to do on here? Man, okay, the YouTube shop button. Such a pain in the ass. Why is it so difficult to do this? All right, in the YouTube studio, but I want to add it directly to the video. Not to the freaking channel. This stuff pisses me off. Yeah, how do I tag a product? Okay, during the uploading, select tag products. Okay, where do I even do that? Tags. Yeah, but that's like keyword tags. That's not what I want. This is a pain in the ass, dude. I don't know. I'm getting frustrated. Piece of shit, fucking. Like, what the fuck, dude? During upload or editing, select tag products. There's no fucking button for that. Like, why did they make this so hard for people that want to get into content creation? I'm sorry, Dean. I'll figure this out later. I'm losing my mind looking for this goddamn button. If you guys want a hat, just I'm gonna put it in the chat and I'll figure it out later. I'm losing my mind here. All right. What? Did this thing get cut off? The live event is over. Chat no longer available. This thing just... Whatever. All right. I can't believe this thing.